The brutal reality check hitting Cracker Barrel right now is a shocking update for anyone working at the company. So Cracker Barrel is officially in a fight for its life right now. The latest financial data from March 2026, shows that Cracker Barrel is struggling to find any solid ground. Revenue has plummeted nearly 8% at Cracker Barrel compared to where they were just last year. Guest traffic is down over 10% as people simply stopped showing up at Cracker Barrel. So this iconic Tennessee-based restaurant and retail chain is staring at, a massive hole in the Cracker Barrel balance sheet. Okay. Now, basically, the fiscal second quarter earnings themselves, the report reveals exactly how much damage has been done to Cracker Barrel lately. Net income at Cracker Barrel totaled just $1.3 million, which is a sharp decrease from the $22.2 million they saw last year. Total revenue for Cracker Barrel dropped to $874.8 million, signaling a very serious long-term problem for the brand. November and December were particularly brutal months for Cracker Barrel dining rooms across the country. Management trying to spin these Cracker Barrel numbers as a win, but the data tells a different story, and we're not surprised by that either. But the investors are dumping the stock because they see the writing on the wall. Shares are currently trading around $28 a share, which is a massive drop from previous highs, but now is down to $1 below. A year ago, this stock was sitting comfortably above $71 a share. Despite the massive declines, these results actually topped Wall Street expectations for the quarter. One small bounce after a low bar earnings report won't fix a 60% loss in value, okay? So the company itself is desperately closing down underperforming locations to save what cash remains. They just shuttered 14, Maple Biscuit Street company spots across 6 different states, and Texas took the hardest hit during this recent round of corporate downsizing and closures. These moves are designed to redirect capital back into the core Cracker Barrel brand, and it looks more like a retreat than a strategic pivot to the most market analysts. Okay, so corporate restructuring has become the primary tool for keeping the lights on today. If you still go to Cracker Barrel and eat, or if you decided to avoid it at all costs, let me know your thoughts about that in comments below. And let me know how you still feel about Cracker Barrel. CFO Craig Pommells reported that the comparable restaurant sales fell 7.1%, while retail sales slid 9.2%. They've had slashed between $20 million and $25 million in annual overhead costs recently. Most of these cuts happened at the corporate support center through significant staff layoffs. Efficiency is great, but you can't purely cut your way back into cultural relevance, okay? And the menu is also getting a total overhaul to see if anything will stick. They've introduced items like the breakfast burger and new garden and farmhouse scramble. So they even brought back the country fried turkey, as you all remember, as a limited time offering to win the people back. So yes, this is a frantic attempt to reinvent an identity that worked for decades, and changing the food won't matter if the brand itself, the trust for the brand is already gone for good. So Julie Masino, the CEO, is pointing toward Google star ratings as a sign of hope. She claims the average rating has climbed to 4.28, which is a 4-year high. Masino also highlighted improving employee turnover rates as evidence that things are turning around. High ratings are fine, but you can't pay employees or shareholders with internet stars. And people might like the service, but they're not spending the money in the stores themselves. And not to mention, I'm pretty sure the employees are still upset about the recent decision for the company to have the employees that are traveling to only eat at Cracker Barrel locations, not anywhere else, okay? Now, aside from that, the rebranding controversy from last summer is still casting a very long, dark shadow over Cracker Barrel. Now, many loyal customers felt the Cracker Barrel leadership moved away from its traditional American roots. This disconnect is exactly why the Cracker Barrel traffic numbers are falling into a deep abyss. And you don't lose 10% of your guests at Cracker Barrel by accident in a single year. It takes a massive series of failures for Cracker Barrel to drive away that many people. Now, the reality of the situation itself is that the old Cracker Barrel is gone. Now, management thinks that, they can modernize their way out of a PR and cultural disaster. They just simply focus on digital metrics while the physical dining rooms sit largely, empty. A restaurant needs a soul and a consistent message to survive in this economy. Right now, this brand feels like it's just drifting without any clear direction. The CEO claims that Cracker Barrel is gaining traction and seeing green shoots around the guest traffic. And she says the Cracker Barrel team is energized to drive improved performance through better marketing. We've seen how that went, but however, the data shows that the core Cracker Barrel customer base feels, completely alienated right now. Strengthening Cracker Barrel operations is a corporate buzzword that just simply doesn't fix a broken relationship with patrons. Okay, so you just can't market, Cracker Barrel out of a fundamental loss of brand identity. Now, customer habits have also shifted rapidly, and Cracker Barrel failed to keep the pace properly. People are being, more selective with the money as inflation eats into every budget. They want to spend their hard-earned cash at places that respect their values. When a brand loses that connection, the recovery process is long and often impossible. Now, no amount of new breakfast scrambles will fix a fundamental loss of brand loyalty. So yes, the closure of those 14 Maple Street locations is just the beginning of the end. We should expect to see more underperforming core stores get the axe very soon. Reducing the footprint is a standard move for the company in the death spiral. It helps the balance sheet temporarily, but shrinks the overall reach of the brand itself. Now, this is basically a defensive play that has no offensive strategy at all. Now, the stock price that's sitting at, a red light for everyone. Wall Street has effectively priced a long-term decline for this entire organization. Now, even, with a slight earnings beat, the big money is staying far away. Now, they see a brand, that's lost its core audience recovery that requires more than just surviving. It requires a reason for people to care. Corporate layoffs at the Cracker Barrel Support Center shows how desperate the situation is. High-level talent is leaving Cracker Barrel while the remaining staff struggles to put out fires daily. The loss of institutional knowledge at Cracker Barrel makes a successful turnaround even less likely to happen. So, yes, when the people themselves running the show at Cracker Barrel are jumping ship, you should pay attention. So the infrastructure of Cracker Barrel is weakening while the public image continues to suffer. All right. Now, Cracker Barrel is a case study of what happens when you ignore your customers. Every loyal fan of Cracker Barrel was traded for a theoretical audience that doesn't actually exist. Now, the leadership at Cracker Barrel is left with declining revenue and empty tables. The latest numbers for Cracker Barrel prove that the path to recovery is completely blocked. So this is what a once great institution like Cracker Barrel looks like when it finally breaks. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, peace.